Good afternoon, garden friends. Today, because we have some really good weather, I am just trying to make sure I get caught up on everything, get my bulbs planted. I'm going to be moving my hydrangeas, trimming down my Russian sage, getting some bulbs planted, moving my lamb's ear because I'm going to be putting that elsewhere. And then I got a new shrub, and I'm so excited about getting it planted in this area. It's called a radiant abelia, flowering shrub, and it takes full sun, and it will get 36 inches tall. And I want to put it right in this area between my hydrangeas, because I think the variegated, let me show you, the variegated leaves and me also having some winter interest will look really nicely once the hydrangeas are all bloomed. So got my supplies, so I'm gonna go ahead. Probably the first thing is get that lamb's ear pulled out so I can move the hydrangea over and then get the abelia planted. So let me go ahead and get to work. Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and get my Russian sage trimmed down. That way it won't be in the way of me moving things around before I go ahead and dig up that lamb's ear. And by cutting down the Russian sage, what it'll do is allow it to get fuller in its blooms, and you're not wasting energy on stuff that's dying back. You can see, the new growth is already on there. So I just cut it down to where the new growth is starting at. That way, like I said, when it starts to grow, it'll be nice and full. I'm not going to trim my these hydrangeas back, because I do like the interest that it gives with spent flowers on it. So let me go ahead, plant up my black-eyed Susies. I think I'm going to thin them out and put them on the other side over here. And then, hi there. And then this section, I'm going to be clipping back my Johnny Walker, I think it's called. So I'm going to get that trimmed back. And like I said, probably put some black-eyed Susies in that area too. So let me go ahead and get the lamb's ear dug out so I can go ahead and move that hydrangea before I put my new shrub in there. And this is like some really rich soil. And that's one thing that I like to do, especially when I'm transplanting. Get the hole dug so that I can dig the plant up and put it right in the ground. Because I do believe that helps in reducing any type of shock to the plant. And I'm also going to put some biotone in here. Okay, so it's going to be this one that I'm going to move over to this side. And the thing when you are digging up hydrangeas, I try, because the root system is intense, I try to go at a good distance so that I'm not damaging the root itself. I'm pulling out that black-eyed Susie that was back there. Look at that. And it looks like, this hydrangea roots are coming out too. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want. And then pack it down really nicely. Make sure no air pockets. What I'm going to do is get these roots from the larger hydrangea buried, and then put my new shrub right here. And then two, I'm going to be putting some compost and manure over top of this bed. Even though the soil is good, just want to be able to make sure I keep that same level of nutrients in the soil. Sit this in here. And take a look at it. Like I said, this will end up getting 3 to 4 inches tall and wide. And I got enough room here. And just having the variegated leaves, even when I just have the greenery on my hydrangeas, that'll end up looking nice. And then these guys get pretty tall. So, and with this getting about 3 to 4 feet and filling that in, that'll look really nice back here. All right, that looks good. Now what I think I am gonna do is maybe just plop some of the lamb's ear in these bare spots, because I am going to be planting some daffodil bulbs in this area. So let me go ahead and get the lamb's ear cleaned up and then get them planted back here. Now, because lamb's ear does not need fertilized, I'm going to go ahead and get my holes dug because I've cleaned them off, get them right back into the ground. Like I said, they don't like a lot of water because that's how they get mushy. And then if you got it in a good spot and you want it to continue to show life, even in the colder months, you got to thin them out, because when they get like too big, that's when they get mushy because there's no air circulation. So I ended up, like I said, got all the dead stuff off of it. All right. So those guys are in there. That is just looking really nice. I'm glad I moved. That's actually a bobo that I moved over to where, like I said, once I trim them back to allow the radiant abelia to get full grown, that is just gonna look so nice. All right, so I think I'm gonna also thin out this other lambs here and clean up my black-eyed Susies. And I'm more than likely gonna go ahead and trim down my rose bush, my white lie. I mean, it got new buds on it, but just get everything trimmed back in preparation for the spring. And then that way I can go ahead and get all of my bulbs planted back here. This guy is pretty big. And when I cut these back, I like any of the dead leaves, the leaves that don't look good, I just go ahead and take those guys out. Because it'll just help give more air circulation. And then too, it gives room for the new shoots to come through. And then the other thing is, if we get another frost, having some leaves on there will protect the smaller ones that are trying to come up later. I probably should have some gloves on. God knows what's in here. And like I said, less stuff I have to do for spring cleanup. I'll put a little one here. Get it cleaned up. Because these guys just grow so prolifically. That's why I love them. And then the texture that they add to your garden. Okay, so I'm digging this up. This is my purple passion, or purple hearts. I'm digging up. I just want it right here in the front. So I'm gonna go get my other clippers to trim down the rose bush, probably about to here. So everything is nice and set for the spring. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start getting my daffodil bulbs planted, put the lamb's ear and some other beds where I can utilize it at in the garden, and then go ahead and get my Johnny Walkers trimmed back, and then my straggly black-eyed Susie over there in the corner. So let me go get my other clippers and also my auger so I can go ahead and get these bulbs knocked out. All right, so let's go ahead and get this cut down. Oh, I need to go get my new gloves. Hold on for a minute. Try those babies out. Okay, guys, I got my new gloves on and it works. The little tips, I was able to turn my camera on with the gloves on. So let's see how well they hold up to these branches for the roses. Now, I'll say this. While I am just snipping these guys to get it down, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look to see where the bud is, because I want the bud to be on the outside so it doesn't get all congested in the inside. I think I might keep this one and propagate it because these roses are just beautiful. I think I'm going to do this one because look at that. The stems are still nice and they're not woody. So I think I'm gonna propagate a couple of them. Oh, that one too. Yeah. Okay, I would say the gloves are good. The gloves are good. All right, so I am gonna propagate some of these roses. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the bulbs that I'm gonna be putting in here laid out. Get my auger and get them the bulb tone in there and get these guys done, and then this bed will be finished, and then I'll do a quick watering of it. I got a beer in here for you. Okay, so I got my bulbs placed where I want them. These here are called the Holly Sensations. There were 4 in a pack, and I got those from Pikes. Those back there are the narcissus, more narcissus that I have in here, some tucked back there. These here are the remaining frosty snows from Color Blend, some more of the narcissus, and another batch of the Holland Sensations. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my holes dug for the bulbs. And guys, let me tell you something. This is the best investment that I made to get my Craftsman auger, because it just makes it so much easier, you know, to get these holes done and get these bulbs in. So. And like I said, put the bulb tone in there. And then once I get these all done, I'll go ahead and water everything except for the lambs here and my Russian sage. And just for clarity, one of the things that you want to make sure is that your bulbs are nice and firm. If they're mushy, 9 times out of 10, they are not going to produce a flower for you. And where you see the roots, that's the bottom, the point is the top. All right, let me get these ones in the back done, and then all the bulbs in this area will be planted. Like I said, I'm gonna trim my Johnny Walkers. I'm gonna Black-Eyed Susie in this bed over here also, and I might do one of the lamb's ears in this area too. All right, so the bed is all done. I got my lamb's ear thinned out and placed it in different locations, and that was just one lamb's ear that I was able to thin out and put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas in the garden bed. Thinned out my black-eyed Susie so those look nice and neat. Cut down my white lye rose bush. I moved the hydrangea over to this side so that I could put my new shrub there. Boy, that looks so nice. And just the contrast, I love it. So I know I made the right decision. And then my ornamental cabbages are just doing so well. And then I have plopped in the bed some pansies. Oh, and then I got some new sedum in here. I have this in my backyard and it gets such a vibrant burgundy color to it, and it's low to the ground, so it does not get tall like the autumn joy sedum. I got my compost and manure down. My bulbs are all planted in here. I cut back my Johnny Walkers over here. Got those guys looking nice and neat. Now, I am not going to put mulch down until the spring, because this hedge needs to be trimmed, and I don't like to have the clippings in the new mulch. That one's doing okay, but then my Nardia, I have to get that guy all shaped up. So this was a very exhilarating front bed, clean up, thinning out, and what have you. And that's the thing, you know, with gardening. Take those opportunities to thin your plants out so that they have a very healthy start and they are not as acceptable to disease, you know, because I do believe that was part of one of the reasons for my lambs there. Number one, they don't like a lot of water, and then number two, I needed to thin those guys out. So, well, thank you again for visiting Inspiring Garden Corner, and if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing and liking my page. Have a great day.